More than my bitch, I love my brother. But I don't love my bitch more than my money, no.
Anyway, what's up, Stoner Crew? It's yours truly, Snort That Do. Right now, but get into that. Kill Bill, Lil Deuce, the rapper killers with 20 bodies. Computing data. Anyway, original link to this be down in the description. Before we get into the video, let me tell you about that Motion Club business. Man, I'm just so happy with this launch, bro. Not going back. This is like the biggest order I had made so far on anything. So I'm just taken aback, like we really grown to this. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate everybody that's been supporting the Motion Club and anybody that's out in the Motion Club too. I need it all. You feel me? I ain't gonna lie. But we ain't even gonna shine light on the negativity. My bad. Everybody that's supporting and thinking about supporting the Motion Club. We get new customer sign-ups every day. You know what I'm saying? That's something I'm happy about. We get new orders every day. That's something else I'm happy about. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care if it's just 1 order or 10 orders. I'll be happy about every one of them. You feel me? Yeah.
And if you know anything about him, you gotta know it's gonna be a crazy documentary coming.
In late 2025, Chicago was rocked by a brazen, broad daylight murder caught on camera. But this incident was shocking for a couple of reasons, as the victim was one of the most infamous figures in Chicago drill history, a rapper and alleged gang leader, and one of Lil Durk's closest friends, THF Beasu. In the aftermath of the hit, one suspect from the Chicago underworld would see his name becoming infamous on social media, not only because he was rumored to have been involved in the killing of Beasu, but because of his already notorious reputation and staggering claims of a double-digit body count, with him publicly stating that he and his now deceased best friend were responsible for over 20 murders in the city combined. In the Chicago scene were alleged serial killers like King Von and Bloodhound Lil.
Nah, this is serious work, chat. They starting to make one look like rookie numbers, bro. I'm taken aback. I ain't gonna lie.
Jeff have become legends of the streets, it wasn't hard to see why Chirac's new top shooter was quickly becoming a name that was ringing in the streets. This figure was a rapper and alleged shooter going by the street name Kill Bill, and his partner in crime, who he claimed to share the staggering 20+ body count with, was the now deceased rapper DMG Lil Deuce, also known on social media by the chilling and hilarious nickname the One-Legged Assassin. Now, Kill Bill hails from the west side of Chicago, which is now considered the city's most dangerous area by far. Yet for years, the area's been mostly overlooked in the drill scene.
And that ain't rap cat, bro. My one and only time on the west side of Chicago, boy, a pack of YNs ran down on me. It's on footage. It's on footage. I ain't lying.
Even by Chicago drill music fanatics like myself, because some of the most big names in Chicago drill hail from the south side where the genre first began. But now, things are starting to change, and while Kill Bill might not be the most popular rapper to emerge from the west side of Chicago in recent years, at least not yet, his story and the stories of the people around him are without a doubt some of the craziest and most shocking stories you will ever hear. These involve not only some of the deadliest local rivalries, but conflicts that have spilled across the entire city of Chicago, drawing in some of the biggest rappers and most infamous gangs currently running the streets there. So today in this video, we're going to uncover the stories of Kill Bill and Lil Deuce, the most prolific rapping hitmen to come out of the city in recent years. Content warning. This video is about a sensitive topic involving loss of life. We've removed any graphic content to comply with YouTube's guidelines. We aim to provide informative, factual journalism on a tragic event in the public interest that does not dismiss its seriousness. All clips are used under the doctrine of fair use for news reporting and analysis. Some points made in this video are opinions and theories. I am not responsible for third-party information. If you want to watch my videos uncut and extended, go to patreon.com/traplawross, where you can get those for just $2. Also, you can now watch my new drops on Spotify, so go search me there. Here's the video. Chicago's west side, known locally as Out West, generally refers to the areas west of downtown, with its core roughly spanning from North Avenue down towards the Stevenson Expressway. In the past, Out West was known as the part of Chicago where most of the hustling happened. It was a place where open-air drug markets were apparently as common as some corner stores, and to an extent Chicago's west side, known locally as Out West, generally refers to the areas west of downtown, with its core roughly spanning from North Avenue down towards the Stevenson Expressway. In the past, Out West was known as the part of Chicago where most of the hustling happened. It was a place where open-air drug markets were apparently as common as some corner stores, and to an extent this is apparently still even true today, although the heroin that used to rule these markets has now been replaced by its much deadlier cousin, fentanyl. But meanwhile, Chicago's south side would become infamous around the world through drill music, gaining a reputation as the part of the city where you're most likely to get killed. Nowadays, the south side is still very dangerous, and particularly known for being the area where the modern day drill music was ultimately born. A neighborhood known as Washington Park, located directly north of the infamous O Block, aka Parkway Gardens, was still recently in 2024 labeled as the most dangerous area in the entire city based just on its violent crime rate. However, that same list highlights a much larger, interconnected area that includes several of Chicago's.
I feel like I'm gonna have to say this throughout the whole video, but don't let this scare you into not going and visiting Chicago. Chicago is a beautiful city, bro.
Most dangerous neighborhoods. This includes West Garfield Park, North Lawndale, East Garfield Park, and Austin. This area forms the heart of Chicago's west side, making it by and large the most dangerous side of Chicago. Directly north of West Garfield Park, a neighborhood which Chicago Sun-Times labeled the most violent in the city in 2023, stands a neighborhood known as Humboldt Park, where one of the main characters of this story, Kill Bill, hails from. Kill Bill, aka KB or KB Curry, real name Linnell Moore, was born on the 4th of April 2001 into a family that seemed driven both academically and athletically, with his big brother Lonnie going on to play basketball in the varsity team and his sister becoming a cheerleader and the homecoming queen, while Kill Bill himself became a gifted basketball player and the homecoming king who was seemingly being scouted for colleges already as a freshman in 2015. As Kill Bill told the YouTuber On A Couch TV, he originally had no plans of getting involved in the gang life.
Thing a lot of people don't know about me, they probably be thinking like, been bad my whole life, a bad, horrible kid, crazy. I never thought I'd be gangbanging or rapping or none of that.
However, growing up in one of the most active parts of Chicago when it comes to gangbanging, he was certainly following it from the sidelines. Much of the west side is controlled by the vice lord.
I feel like Chicago, one of them cities where if you in that area, you mess around and fall into that gang life, bro. Especially if it's nothing positive going on around. Usually you gotta have positive stuff going around for you to not get in that life, bro. But like, yeah, I just feel like it's just a little easier to fall into the gang life, man. That's what I do think about Chicago.
One of the oldest gangs in Chicago that got established in the North Lawndale neighborhood already in the late 1950s. But over the years, the gang fractured into numerous factions that at times even became rivals of one another, including the conservative vice lords, the traveling vice lords, the unknown vice lords, insane vice lords, and several others. The hood that Kill Bill hailed from, around the corner of Chicago and Trumbull Avenues, was repped by a traveling vice lord set known as Wild Bunch Money Gang, or WBMG. This name was also used by a rap group from the area who dropped numerous music videos and vlogs in the early 2010s.
Jig Dollar Wild Bunch Money Gang, you dig? Money bag. We on the set of We Rap, video shoot, Junior.
Man, bro, listen to me.
Wild Bunch Bird.
I think we had
You know what we out here, you know the smoke set. You know the smoke set, you know the smoke set. You dig? Wild Bunch Money Gang's movement.
In 2016, a young Kill Bill would suffer several losses within his circle of friends that would seemingly end up massively changing the course of his life. In March 2016, 16-year-old Lucas Spicer Jr., known in the area as Baby T or Lil Luke, was outside in WBMG's hood with two friends when a car pulled up and someone stepped out, opening fire, killing him and injuring the others. Particularly, the younger generation from the hood were deeply impacted by the loss of Baby T, and later that year, they began to call themselves BTBG, meaning Baby T Blood Gang, even releasing a song titled after their new set, which was also a diss song aimed at Baby T's possible killers. A set known as Beam Team 1200 from the Lawndale neighborhood, one of the numerous rival sets that BTBG has on the west side, as we'll discuss more later. BTBG would also begin to rep the March the 17th death date of Baby T, which is why rappers from the set, including Kill Bill, are known to put 317 in front of their names. A few months later in June, they would experience another devastating loss as 17-year-old Dope Boy, aka Lud D, real name Ladarius Wallace, was gunned down in the East Garfield Park neighborhood. It was these losses within his friend circle, combined with problems and losses within Kill Bill.
Get the grip, I switch Louis socks to the sky.
Splungio, man, I appreciate the 2 months, Brody. Much love. Much love. Where you been at, dude?
own family that would seemingly drive him onto the street life when he was only around 16 years old.
It pushed me into the streets like on top, like, cause I fake jumped off the push fake like late, for real, like, it still was young, but on top, like, I was like 16, 17, like, on top, like,
yeah, not for you been around, like, yeah.
I've been around though, but when I really started, you know, like, you know, on top, you know, I was always claiming no love money game when I was like 14, 15, on top, like, when that blood game came, that BTBG, like, on top, like, I'm keeping, I was with it, but on top, like, I wasn't really, you know, gang, I wasn't, you know.
You know what, gang? That's my fault. That's my fault. Once dudes start playing, I got sidetracked with other stuff, bro. But you right, bro. We gotta drop that.
Gang bang hard on top, I was just, you know, claim the hood. On top, but like, when Dilly and Sco got booked on top grade, like, Sco, that's my big brother, he booked right now on top grade. But when Dilly and Sco got booked, like, you know, on top, like, they gone, bam, that's a big brother out the household, you know what I'm saying? My brother Lonnie, he moved to Texas, he got booked. He fighting a B on top grade, so like, now I'm the oldest, you know, boy in the household. On top, like, I'm rotating, you know.
Hands all on your head.
And then looks up on top when Lil D dad, my daddy passed like 3-4 days before Lil D on top grade, so I was like, started skipping school, selling drugs, towing scraps, all that, you know.
But still, Kill Bill would finish high school, even graduating in 2019, even though he would be arrested several times that year on drug-related charges. And from here, he would keep on losing people in his hood to gun violence, including Whitey, real name Tavares Trimble, and Pistol P, real name Pierre Tima Sr., both killed just a few days apart in the summer of 2019, as well as Backwood Dave, real name Davion Stroger, who was killed in October. Moreover, according to prosecutors in a 2019 case against 2 BTBG members who had shot up a vigil for a rival gang member, there had already been over a dozen shootings that year between BTBG and just one of their rivals, a conservative vice lord set known as BBMG, made up of 2 cliques called Co-Gang and Richway. In late 2019, after graduating from high school, Kill Bill seemingly decided to jump into the rap game, dropping several songs with his friends from BTBG, including Step on Him 2 Times in October and How I'm Comin' in December. Interestingly, both of these songs were released in the months following the September 2019 murder of a man known as Pluto 2 Times, real name Derek Burns, a member of yet another rival set called Ghost Mob, and dissing Pluto was a big part of both songs. In Step on Him 2 Times, the title itself seemingly throws a subliminal shot at Pluto by referencing the 2 times from his nickname, while the BTBG members would rap in the chorus about shooting someone in the head, this being the exact way that Pluto had gone out. In the song How I'm Comin', on the other hand, Kill Bill was even more explicit, rapping that he was smoking Pluto, also known as 2 Times, while claiming that Pluto's friends hadn't avenged his death. The dissing stemmed from the fact that Pluto wasn't just any op, but he was allegedly one of the most feared shooters in the city, with online rumors claiming he had as many as 10 as Beam Team 1200 from the Lawndale neighborhood, one of the numerous rival sets that BTBG has on the west side, as we'll discuss more later. BTBG would also begin to rep the March the 17th death date of Baby T, which is why rappers from the set, including Kill Bill, are known to put 317 in front of their names. A few months later in June, they would experience another devastating loss as 17-year-old Dope Boy, aka Lud D, real name Ladarius Wallace, was gunned down in the East Garfield Park neighborhood. It was these losses within his friend circle, combined with problems and losses within Kill Bill's own family, that would seemingly drive him onto the street life when he was only around 16 years old.
It pushed me into the streets like on top, like, cause I fake jumped off the push fake like late, for real, like, it still was young, but on top, like, I was like 16, 17, like, on top, like,
yeah, not for you been around, like, yeah.
I've been around though, but when I really started, you know, like, you know, on top, you know, I was always claiming no love money game when I was like 14, 15, on top, like, when that blood game came, that BTBG, like, on top, like, I'm keeping, I was with it, but on top, like, I wasn't really, you know, gang, I wasn't, you know, gang bang hard, on top, I was just, you know, claim the hood. On top, but like, when Dilly and Sco got booked on top grade, like, Sco, that's my big brother, he booked right now on top grade. But when Dilly and Sco got booked, like, you know, on top, like, they gone, bam, that's a big brother out the household, you know what I'm saying? My brother Lonnie, he moved to Texas, he got booked, he fighting a B on top grade, so like, now I'm the oldest, you know, boy in the household. On top, like, I'm rotating, you know.
Hands all on your head.
And then looks up on top when Lil D dad, my daddy passed like 3-4 days before Lil D on top grade, so I was like, started skipping school, selling drugs, like towing scraps, all that, you know.
But still, Kill Bill would finish high school, even graduating in 2019, even though he would be arrested several times that year on drug-related charges. And from here, he would keep on losing people in his hood to gun violence, including Whitey, real name Tavares Trimble, and Pistol P, real name Pierre Tima Sr., both killed just a few days apart in the summer of 2019, as well as Backward Dave, real name Davion Stroger, who was killed in October. Moreover, according to prosecutors in a 2019 case against two BTBG members who had shot up a vigil for a rival gang member, there had already been over a dozen shootings that year between BTBG and just one of their rivals, a conservative vice lord set known as BBMG, made up of two cliques called Co-Gang and Richway. In late 2019, after graduating from high school, Kill Bill seemingly decided to jump into the rap game, dropping several songs with his friends from BTBG, including Step on Him 2 Times in October and How I'm Comin' in December. Interestingly, both of these songs were released in the months following the September 29th of a man known as Pluto 2 Times, real name Derek Burns, a member of yet another rival set called Ghost Mob, and dissing Pluto was a big part of both songs. In Step on Him 2 Times, the title itself seemingly throws a subliminal shot at Pluto by referencing the 2 times from his nickname, while the BTBG members would rap in the chorus about shooting someone in the head, this being the exact way that Pluto had gone out. In the song How I'm Comin', on the other hand, Kill Bill was even more explicit, rapping that he was smoking Pluto, also known as 2 times, while claiming that Pluto's friends hadn't avenged his death. The dissing stemmed from the fact that Pluto wasn't just any op, but he was allegedly one of the most feared shooters in the city, with online rumors claiming he had as many as 10 bodies to his name. Now, it's not clear whether Kill Bill himself had any alleged bodies at this point, but dealing with enemies like Pluto would undoubtedly have a huge influence on him. And years later, online detectives begun claiming that Kill Bill had in fact passed Pluto when it came to murder counts, with the wildest rumors suggesting that he now has as many as 12 bodies to his name. But to understand how these rumors begun, we have to go back to 2020, when Kill Bill ended up losing so many close friends in such a short span of time that it was this experience that allegedly turned him into a demon. Coming into 2020, Kill Bill would keep on dropping music, like the March music video titled GGRGT Shooter, that also features 2 other BTBG members, including the rapper Lud Marcus, who would also feature in Kill Bill's April 2020 music video for the song Drawdown. On July the 11th, Kill Bill would also make an appearance in the music video for Lud Marcus, which begins with an almost 1-minute intro solely focused on dissing all of their dead ops by name.
Man, we spoke on 2 times, man. GDK. Man, Larry, all that, all that niggas. Fuck Larry. Hard, tell you every big situation, hard. Blood. Smoking on Ghost. Smoking on Spike Lee. Smoking on Spike. Smoking on Lil Chris, oh Blood. Blood. Smoking on Lil Spike. Smoking on Prez, dummy, on Blood. Tour. Motherfucker Rob too, bitch. Oh, Blood.
But unfortunately, only a week later, tragedy would strike their set, as Kill Bill's friend JJ, real name Angie Webster, was gunned down on the 18th of July in BTBG's home turf. Only about a week after that, on the 24th of July, one of Kill Bill's best friends, 2-3, real name Marquise Crump, together with Lud Marcus, were allegedly trying to get back for JJ, sliding on Ghost Mob's hood in the Austin neighborhood. However, something would go terribly wrong on the drill, and it would be 2-3 who would end up losing his life, with videos later getting posted online where a Ghost Mob member can be seen filming 2-3's lifeless body and taunting him while the police are trying to calm down the crowd that gathered around the body.
Come on. Where your strap at? Where your strap at? Who came over here shooting? Where your strap at? Where your strap at? Where your strap at? Dead.
Lud Marcus, who had supposedly been with 2-3 when he was killed, would allegedly be charged with his murder due to participating in the shooting, and to this day it seems like he's still locked up for that. This was likely the hardest loss that Kill Bill had suffered in the streets at this point, and if online rumors are to be believed, the very next day he would try and slide on Ghost Mob's hood, attempting to get back, but thankfully nobody would lose their life. But unfortunately for Kill Bill, the losses would keep on coming, and already just a few months later, on the 27th of September, yet another one of his close friends called Ghost, or 2-2, real name Ernest James, would be killed in a drive-by shooting. This would lead BTBG to rename their set the Ghost Town, or Ghost Town Glizzy Gang, aka GTGG, letters which Kill Bill even has tattooed in massive font on his neck. And Kill Bill would later tell the YouTuber 16 Shot 'em that these were the losses that truly changed him.
I had seen someone on Reddit, somebody, is it?
Not only did he pass away, JJ had passed away.
Like bad or wrong, they feel like they is doing wrong. And the positive route, it's the harder route, but it's, you know, that's the route that, how would I break it down? Like, imagine like a motherfucker doing bad. My bad, how you talk about this, because I see it's affecting you, so we want to change the subject. Just let me know. But
Clearly this was a subject that
Well, clear out. That boy was on Melly timing. Clear out.
Kill Bill had personal experience with, and if the rumors are true, it's not hard to see which path he chose. Only 2 days after the murder of Ghost, 25-year-old Linnell Fields Jr., an alleged Ghost Mob member known as Sumo, was outside on the 400 block of North Springfield Avenue when someone would open fire, striking him in the chest. Sumo was taken to the hospital, where he unfortunately succumbed to his injuries. Now, to be clear, there's nothing official that seemingly connects Kill Bill to this murder, but 2 months after it happened, he would feature on the song Bug Up by the rapper Mac 11, where he would proudly announce how he had just caught his first body, warning his ops that they could be next. And he wasn't lying, because on the very same day that that song was released, another one of his rivals would lose their lives.
Oh, Kill Bill, own that.
In the early morning hours of November the
name,
27th, 23-year-old Preston Kennedy, better known as Lil Marley, an alleged member of the Richway set, aka BBMG, was standing in the parking lot of a gas station in the 3700 block of West Chicago Avenue when someone opened fire from a black sedan, hitting Marley in the chest, and he too would later die from his injuries at the hospital. This murder would also go unsolved, but Kill Bill has mentioned it a few times in his songs, like in the June 2021 track Mac Campaign, where he would interestingly first rap how BTBG kill people but don't claim them, before mentioning how he's smoking Marley because they killed him. These lyrics possibly pointing to BTBG not being behind this murder. However, Kill Bill would keep mentioning Marley, like on the track DMGG with Lil Deuce, which was released in August 2023, but according to Kill Bill was already recorded in 2021, where he would rap about how he's really in the streets, doing what he's rapping about, before mentioning Marley specifically and saying how they threw him in a casket. Whoever was behind these murders, 2 of BTBG's ops had now lost their lives in just a few months' time, after the losses that Kill Bill and his friends had experienced earlier that year. But unfortunately, 3 more people would die before 2020 was over. Less than a week after Marley's death, on the 2nd of December at around 8 PM, another 23-year-old man, Nautica Banks, also known as Gooch, an alleged member of the Fro Gang set, was with 3 friends in a car in the Lawndale neighborhood on the west side of Chicago. Fro Gang, named after a member killed in 2013, is another west side set that has had a long-running beef with BTBG, the origins of which are not entirely clear. They had just driven off from a gas station when someone in a dark blue Chevy Equinox opened fire at them. Gucci and his friends would attempt to flee from the shooters by driving down Roosevelt Road towards Cicero, but when they got to the intersection of Roosevelt and Laramie, their car would crash at a high speed into a parked car with tragic consequences. Gooch and another passenger, Keandria Richards, would be pronounced dead less than an hour later, while the 2 others in the car were injured, and unfortunately, a third person, 23-year-old Tatiana Baker, would die from both gunshot wounds and injuries from the crash. Meanwhile, the car of the shooters would continue driving down the street before they too would also crash less than a mile later on the 5800 block of Roosevelt Road, at which point 4 suspects would exit the car and flee the scene on foot. Not long after the deadly crash, a highly graphic video would begin circulating on social media, which according to one commenter showed Gooch's face completely gone. People close to Gooch and others would also see the video and comment about it, understandably highly upset and disturbed. Only a few months later, on the 12th of February 2021, Kill Bill would release his song KB Curry together with a music video, and in the song, KB would rap how they clipped someone's head and he wasn't talking about a haircut. Years later, after Kill Bill's name would begin to ring on Reddit and social media, someone would ask if it was true that he had caused Gooch's head to be decapitated. However, the video that post would seemingly reference was in fact another deadly crash that spookily happened exactly 2 years later on December the 2nd, 2022, and less than 2 miles away at the intersection of Cicero and Madison. But in any case, after the incident that killed Gooch and the 2 women, a heated argument broke out on Facebook as people close to the victims began placing blame on the only survivor, the driver, claiming that he had actually been the intended target of the shooting and that his involvement had ultimately led to the others' deaths. It seems then that Gooch might not have been the intended target despite his alleged gang affiliations, but sadly, only a few months later, another unintended killing would occur, this time claiming the life of a completely innocent child. And unlike the previous case, this one would clearly be linked to Kill Bill's BTBG gang, and according to some rumors, even to KB himself. Tiller, also known as Richway Tiller, is a rapper from the Richway set, aka BBMG, who's been putting out music for close to a decade. He may not have gained mainstream recognition for his music, but his rising profile was enough to draw unwanted attention on the west side, particularly as he would release songs where he and his friends would directly taunt their ops, including BTBG. Tiller would also pull off stunts like sharing a video of his friend Bino urinating on the grave of one of their ops, making him a major target for the rivals of the Richway set.
Oh, bro, yo.
See, that's where niggas gotta draw the line, bro. They already passed away. Leave them alone.
Yo.
On the 18th of April 2021, at around 4:15 p.m, Tiller was at a McDonald's drive-thru on the 3200 block of Roosevelt, together with his 7-year-old daughter, Jaslyn Adams, also known as Pinky. As they sat waiting in the drive-thru lane, a silver Audi would pull up and 2 people got out of the car, opening fire on them. The shooters would let off almost 50 shots, hitting both Tiller and his daughter, and as Tiller attempted to drive away, his car would crash into the McDonald's intercom system. The shooters then hopped back into their car and sped off before the police would arrive at the scene to find that Jaslyn had been hit the most severely, with them rushing her to hospital in a squad car. But despite their efforts, nothing could be done, and she was pronounced dead shortly after, while Tiller, real name Jonte Adams, would end up surviving the hit.
At least 30 shell casings surrounded the vehicle. The tinted windows on the side were shot out. Bullet holes in the frame and back window as well. Investigators say Jaslyn was hit multiple times around 4:15 Sunday afternoon. Family says her father, Jonte Adams, was also hit. Chicago police saying the 29-year-old man was shot in the upper body. He should survive. Jaslyn's grandmother tells CBS 2 Jonte called her as soon as the shooting happened, saying, quote, "They shot my baby."
This case would receive major attention in the city due to the exceptionally young age of the victim, and it didn't take long for the media to come to the conclusion that this had likely been an ambush where Tiller had been the intended target.
It's my baby I just lost. I got shot once, my baby got shot 6 times. 6 times, my baby got shot 6 times. They still ain't tell me what she got shot at.
And it would even turn out that Tiller was seemingly aware that his ops knew how to find him, as he had recently done a PPP loan which had made his address public. It also didn't take long for the police to start catching up to the killers, and already about a week later they would arrest their first suspect, 18-year-old Marion Lewis, who would take the police on a high-speed chase that ended with a crash on the freeway, an attempted carjacking, and a shootout with the police.
18-year-old Marion Lewis now facing more than a dozen felony charges.
That boy's cooked, I ain't gonna lie.
In the death of 7-year-old Jaslyn Adams.
There were 2 guns recovered from when he was arrested. On the 290, and one of them was an AK-47, like pistol grip sort of pistol. Both those weapons that were on his person that were recovered, they did test positive to the murder weapons used at the scene to kill Jaslyn.
Lewis, who the police say was the driver, waited in the car while the 2 shooters allegedly killed Jaslyn. That driver would also be known as a BTBG member called Otto LaFleur, or Blood Gang Otto. Otto, who the police would find in possession of a Draco used in the shooting, had already posted a video earlier that day on social media where he could be seen inside the car used in the hit together with the 2 alleged shooters. And it didn't help that afterwards he had been seemingly throwing subliminals about being part of the murder on Facebook. The second suspect was arrested a few days later, turning out to be 21-year-old Demond Gouldy, also known as BTBG member Glow, while the third suspect, 21-year-old Devontae Anderson, also known as Vontae or Moneybag, was finally caught in June after being listed as a fugitive wanted by the FBI. Meanwhile, Tiller would receive a lot of attention on social media, where many would actually blame for what had happened, particularly after the video of him urinating in the graveyard would begin to circulate, and Tiller himself wouldn't exactly help his situation by saying some truly wild things, like how he would die for his guys but not his daughter.
Real members want to understand that, like, a real member's want to still be a real member. Like, put your baby before gang. I'm not gonna die for my baby, bro. Like, I die for the guys.
Tiller would also be interviewed by numerous major media platforms, including the Steve Harvey Show, where he promised that he had
That nigga a clown for saying that.
left the gang life behind, while other Richway members would seemingly denounce him, interpreting his actions as snitching, as the media had early on noted how Tiller had actually helped to catch the suspects. It would be only recently that Kill Bill's name would become associated with the case, seemingly by his own accord, as he would seemingly post a story on Instagram showing a screenshot of what was likely an old message that Tiller had sent someone in BTBG, where he asked Kill Bill and Otto to turn themselves in for killing his daughter, with KB adding a caption in the story calling Tiller a rat like 6ix9ine. However, it seems unlikely that Kill Bill would ever post a screenshot like this if he had actually been involved in the murder, and what it actually likely shows is that simply Tiller thought he was involved incorrectly. But still, in the song Curry Nem from November 2022, Kill Bill would put the snitching allegations on wax, while even rapping how he couldn't wait to kill Tiller. But while Kill Bill likely wasn't involved in this murder, that doesn't mean he wasn't necessarily just laying low in 2021, because that year his list of potential ops would seemingly double almost overnight, as he would begin to spend a lot of time in the southwest of Chicago, with people from a majority GD hood known as 7 Deuce or 7200, whose territory is around the intersection of 72nd and Artisan near the southeastern corner of Marquette Park. This hood consists of two sets, DMG, aka Dirty Money Gang, or Deuce Money Gang, or Drugs, Money, Guns, and FBC, aka Flyboy Crazy. These two sets typically come together and go by DMG FBC. As Kill Bill would explain, he already had some connections with DMG through childhood friends like DMG Lil Jeff, not to be confused with Bloodhound Lil Jeff. But the affiliation between his BTBG set and DMG or 7 Deuce would start after he would meet the rapper DMG Lil Deuce at the studio one night.
I come to the studio, I come to Zay's session. That's true, and Deuce was in there, and we were supposed to be making a song, but we ain't never even ended up making a song until like, I think like a year later, until like 2021, that was at DMWG.
Alright, bet, man.
And we ended up dropping that in 2023.
Alright, bet. So you got with them like a couple years ago.
Yeah, like for.
Hey, that's my boy Chicago Wave. Shout out to him, man. Go follow. If you are a fan of this drill shit, that's the page you follow right there on Instagram.
But I've been to Lil Jeff from over there. We went to school together. We went to West Town.
After these two became friends, these two sets would eventually become so close that some of the members would start repping a new name, DMGG, which stands for Dirty Money Glizzy Gang, in honor of both sets.
Speaking of like DMG, what is that? Because I be hearing say DMG and DMGG. That's like two different things or something. Whereas like
it's like shit, two different things, but the same thing at the end of the day. But everybody
y'all see me on my fast stuff, my bad.
DMG probably wouldn't say DMGG, like I can't speak for everybody, but like, you know.
Yeah.
And everybody like that's from my wouldn't be just be saying DMGG, like, but it's like everybody that know, like, you know, that, you know.
As Kill Bill would also explain during an interview, his friendship with Lil Deuce would become strong from the start, because he reminded Deuce of his best friend called Detro, another rapper from DMG who had dropped several music videos together with Deuce.
But it was something he had told me though one time. The first one he was saying like, I act like Detro to him. Like he was saying I remind him of Detro. You know, that's his, you know, real child, best friend type.
Right.
So like, you know, that's probably why he gravitated towards him, and like, you know, I gravitated towards him because like, you know, that was my man. Like.
Detro was the most important person in Lil Deuce's life, who had literally even saved him following a shooting in which Lil Deuce was hit 10 times, this shooting causing Lil Deuce to walk with a limp. This incident would later give him nicknames like the One-Legged Assassin or the Chirac Pirate, but unfortunately on the 5th of July 2021, Detro, real name Derek Woods Jr., was shot while he was driving with another man in 7 Deuce's own hood, and at only 18 years old, he would end up passing away from his injuries the following day, with DMG getting an
Wait, this nigga was only 18? I thought he was at least 23.
another meaning in his honor, beginning to go by Detro Money Gang. His killer was never caught, but his murder is often connected to 7 Deuce's perhaps biggest ops, a hood known as Face World 069. Although these days the younger members there often rep other names, D-Gang or OZMG, the best known most likely being M-Block, who have primarily been connected to Detro's murder in online rumors. Unfortunately for Lil Deuce, this was by no means the first major loss, because as he would later tell corporate cartel media, he first witnessed his friend getting killed at only 14 years old, this event changing his life forever.
This when I saw my bed. This when I saw my first homie get killed in front of me right here. Take 4 days after that, before the day later.
You know, how did that affect you when you seen that when you was in Shirley? That ain't you up?
Man, yeah, man. Look, phone them didn't even know what's going on. I just came to the block. Then one of my homies was super locked in because this is his first time to the block. I get to the corner, I'm hearing shots. Phone them down here. FBG Duck was on the block at that time too. Phone them down here. I heard shots. We laughing about it. I run down the street. I see my homie Tay right there. I'm picking folks up. Imagine I'm 14, 15, 20, 17. He know what to do. I'm trying to pick folks up, hold in the back, and do the chest, do the back. But that fucked me up. That changed my life forever.
But Lil Deuce has allegedly also been on the other side of the gun. For example, in 2021, when Lil Deuce and Kill Bill had just met and begun spending a lot of time together, Lil Deuce would tell his Facebook friends how he had 6 rings on his left finger, seemingly implying that at this point he had already killed a whopping half a dozen people.
Look at his face. That boy was a demon for real.
Of rumors about Lil Deuce's alleged bodies, but very little reliable information. But nevertheless, a couple names who were killed before that September 2021 Facebook post have been mentioned by users of the Chiracology subreddit, the earliest of these seemingly being a young man named Eugene who was killed all the way back in 2017. Eugene Winters was an 18-year-old who was allegedly affiliated with the Face World 069 set as he lived in their hood and often posted tributes to their dead members, including Lil Face, who the set is named after. However, like many of Lil Deuce's alleged victims, Eugene was seen as someone who associated with gang members but wasn't necessarily an active member himself. But still, on the 28th of July 2017, just before 11 PM, as Eugene was hanging out with other Face World members on their home turf, someone would let off shots, hitting him fatally in the head, while also injuring 2 other people. Eugene's murder has often been connected to Lil Deuce in online rumors, and although this murder happened a long time ago, it still aligns with what we know about Deuce today, as it seemingly happened right around the same time as Deuce first witnessed his friend getting killed, suggesting that Eugene's death may have been a get back for that loss, and possibly even Lil Deuce's first body. Some friends of Eugene would even imply after his death that he might have not been so innocent after all, saying that he wasn't a stranger to using a gun himself, while Lil Deuce's best friend Detro would mention Eugene in their October 2020 song Scoomflow, taunting Face World for not claiming and paying tribute to Eugene after his death. Devion Davis, better known by his friends and family as D, was a brother of the rapper BG Lil Pat, an alleged member of the Face World 069 set who had been dropping music for years. His most popular song Facts, which also includes a now dead Face World member known as Bando Hothead, a track that has over 10 million views on YouTube. But according to online rumors, D wasn't really involved in the gang life either and was more into sports, but he grew up around Face World members like his brother, and unfortunately that's often all that's needed to become a target in the streets of Chicago. On the 20th of September 2020, just after 1 PM, D was in the heart of Face World's hood in the 6900 block of South Campbell Avenue when 2 cars, a grey sedan and a grey SUV with tinted windows and no license plates, drove to the scene and 2 shooters appeared on foot, one described as tall while the other as short, wearing a black jacket. The unknown duo would shoot D, who later died at hospital. Based on the description of the 2 assailants, it's not hard to guess which one may have been Lil Deuce, but to be clear, nobody was seemingly ever arrested for this murder. But anyway, the most controversial of Lil Deuce's alleged bodies would take place only a few weeks after the murder of Lil Pat's brother, this being the murder of BVC Vante, real name Devontae Given. On the 8th of October 2020, 21-year-old Devontae Given was near the intersection of Walnut Street and Hoyne Avenue in the city of Blue Island, which shares a border with the far south side neighborhood of Chicago called Morgan Park. According to some sources, he was inside a vehicle when someone would shoot him, but as the Blue Island police arrived at the scene, he had already been transported to a hospital where he would die from his injuries. Devontae Given was better known in the streets as Vante, and he hailed from a BD hood known as Bashville or BVC, aka Bashville Crazy, located around 71st and Warbush in the Greater Grand Crossing community. But what makes this murder problematic is that Lil Deuce was supposedly close with BVC, particularly through his very good friend, the rapper Lil Zay Osama, who reps the set known as 6300 BSC, who are located not far from 7 Deuce's hood near the northern side of Marquette Park. Lil Zay Osama has had a long relationship with members of BVC, such as their perhaps most known rapper, Cool Glow Lil Sam, the 2 having made music together as early as 2017, while seemingly remaining close throughout the years. And these 3 hoods, 7 Deuce aka 7200, 6300 BSC, and BVC aka 7100 were all closely affiliated with each other until relatively recently. Interestingly, while the murder of BVC Vante remains unsolved, it seems that Vante's family might have been suspecting that something wasn't as it seemed, and allegedly, once BVC found out who was actually behind the murder, they went from being one of 7 Deuce's close affiliates to one of their biggest ops. About a month after the murder of Lil Deuce's best friend Detro, on the 6th of August 2021, 31-year-old FG Kid, a rapper who had been making music since the very early days of Chicago drill, was sitting in a car with a woman in the 5200 block of South Ashland Avenue when someone walked up to the car and opened fire, hitting him multiple times. The woman would drive him to a hospital, but it was too late, and he would pass away from his injuries. The shooters were never caught, but the incident had all the signs of a gang-related hit, as FG Kid was also allegedly a member of a set known as BOCO, which stands for Bell Oakley Claremont Organization, which is often shortened to just BOC. This set is located very close to the hood of 7 Deuce, and these 2 used to be close back in the day until their relationship would allegedly sour over some snitching allegations, turning them from friends to foes.
Because I end up doing their vlog too, and I end up asking them the same question, like why they wasn't still cool with this side.
And they end up saying like it was like some snitch allegations getting thrown around while y'all had to part sides, like the hoods being cool.
Hold on, look, this is what we gonna say. Hold on now, look, that's a question for us. I ain't even gonna say how I'm supposed to even answer that question. It's this that was from my on folks. He told on DMG, that's what it is, you feel me? On folks. Now he ended up telling on us too, type, you feel me? Got it from over. That's what it is. So like that's what broke us up.
A video would later circulate on social media showing young Lil Deuce getting harassed by members of Bok. Besides Bok, Lil Deuce's hood used to also have close ties to another nearby set known as TMC, aka Too Many Cutthroats, who are located right next to Lil Zay Osama's 6300 BSC, the 3 letters standing for Bad Side of Cali, which both TMZ and Zay's hood still rep, highlighting how there was once much more unity between the gangs around Marquette Park. Before 6300 would click up with 7 Deuce, and they became rivals of TMC, as TMC's most known rappers Slide and Nutso have explained in interviews.
So what's the difference between like y'all hood and Lil Zay hood? Because I've been seeing them say the Bad Side too, or Bad Side of Cali or something like that.
I'm saying though, basically to break it down, there really ain't no like it ain't no difference. You see what I'm saying? Like what the difference is, you feel me? Grew up in the same hood, you feel me? And you know. It went that, you know, it's different going on, so, you know, but the difference is, you know, we know how that goes. We the ones, for real. That's really all it is to that.
So y'all wasn't like 2 different hoods clicked up, y'all was all once before?
Yeah, we was all one, you feel me, like, you know, grew up together a lot of, you know, these everyday people with us, we everyday together, you feel me? I'm just, you know, everybody got to, you know, get locked up like that, and you know, we fell out like that, you feel me?
With Bok, on the other hand, TMC remained close, and a few months after the murder of FG Kid, the TMC rapper Slide would release a song titled Detro, a dedicated diss track where he would call Lil Deuce's friend the latest pack, essentially saying that Detro had been the latest op to get killed. A couple of months after that, DMG, Lil Deuce and Kill Bill would release their first song together, a remix of Kodak Black's song Killing All the Rats, simply titled Killing All the Ops, where both would focus on dissing the Bok in particular, with Deuce rapping how they're trying to leave their members dead like Jock, a Bok member that was killed in 2011, while Kill Bill would rap how they tote 30s and make new packs, before mentioning how they slide through Bok's hood, specifically ready to kill anyone on sight. While the song doesn't prove who killed FG Kid, it had a clear message. Kill Bill and Lil Deuce now shared the same enemies, and they had a common objective: to kill all their ops. In 2021, Chicago's murder rate was reaching the kind of heights that the city hadn't seen since the 90s, and bodies were dropping back to back in numerous hoods. In fact, when Kill Bill and Lil Deuce dropped the song Killing All the Ops in December, a whole lot had already transpired in the streets. On the 26th of September, 22-year-old James Carter, also known as Bobo or Beasu, allegedly from BTBG, was shot and killed in the 800 block of North St. Louis Avenue in the set's home turf, becoming another unsolved murder that took place during a particularly violent weekend when 10 people were killed while almost 60 people were wounded by gunfire. The following month, on the 17th of October, BTBG would take yet another loss, as 18-year-old Dariante Dunn, also known as an alleged BTBG member called Beans, was gunned down in the 600 block of South Springfield Avenue around 8:45 a.m. Only about 5 hours later, at around 2 p.m., 31-year-old Eddie Dell Jr., also known as an alleged Fro Gang member called Gucci 2 Times, was right in the heart of his set's territory in the 4500 block of West Wilcox Street when someone would shoot him fatally in the right side of his neck and shoulder. This murder taking place only about 1.5 miles from where Beans had been killed earlier that day. Gucci 2 Times murder had become yet another unsolved case, but afterwards it seemingly became one of Kill Bill's favorites to mention in his songs, although the first mention would seemingly come from none other than Lil Deuce in the already mentioned song Killing All the Ops, where Deuce says how he's smoking on Gucci, who got left in a lot, before shouting out BTBG, who also call themselves Blood Gang. While there are no mention in news sources about where exactly Gucci was killed, there was interestingly 2 large empty lots in the 4500 block of West Wilcox Avenue where he was found. These are seemingly common hang-around spots for Fro Gang members, and the dissing would seemingly continue in June 2022 on the song Around This by Kill Bill and 2 other rappers, where KB mentions somebody getting shot in the neck, which is exactly what happened to Gucci 2 Times. The same theme continued in Kill Bill's October 2022 song Devil Music, where he seems to diss Gucci several times, first saying how he thinks he's the devil and sacrifices his chosen enemies before specifically mentioning Gucci getting killed. He would then also mention the fact that someone had gotten shot in a lot, while once again mentioning that the person got hit in the neck, although this time claiming that it was one of his partners who had done the hit. But from here, the disses would keep on coming, and on Reddit, the online investigators marked Gucci 2 Times as a BTBG victim, with some even gathering compilations terms of all the times that Kill Bill has dissed him or self-snitched about killing him, as one Redditor would put it. But the killing wasn't over, and only 1 week later, another Fro gang member would be gunned down. Around 3:15 AM on the 24th of October, police found 29-year-old Kevin Powell, an alleged Fro gang member known as Beasu, lying on the ground with deadly gunshot wounds in the 4400 block of West Monroe Street. This location was literally only about a block away from where Gucci 2 Times had been killed just a week before, almost making it look like there was an actual serial killer hunting down Fro gang members in their own hood, and maybe there really was. However, that serial killer might not have been Kill Bill himself, but someone very close to him, a member of the BTBG set whom he considered his little brother, even though they weren't actually his blood relative. This person was allegedly 15-year-old KJ, or Lil Curry, real name Kevin Davis Jr., who, according to later rumors, allegedly had 3 bodies under his belt despite his young age, with all of his victims, according to some online rumors, being from the Fro gang. On November the 24th, 2022, exactly 1 year and 1 month after Beasu's murder, Kill Bill and KJ would release a song and music video together called Curry Nem, which begins with Kill Bill calling KJ his junior and rapping how they slide with just the 2 of them, while later even positioning himself as almost like KJ's mentor in the streets, rapping how he took him to murder school with KJ shooting and Kill Bill driving. But the relevant lyrics related to Beasu's murder, however, would come from KJ, who rapped how he doesn't even want to get started with all their dead ops, before mentioning how Beasu specifically had been bugging, so he got put right to bed. But Beasu wasn't the only Fro gang member that KJ would mention by name, as he would also make yet another reference to Gucci getting shot at the lot, a lot that was only a stone's throw away from Beasu's murder scene, while Kill Bill would emphasize the storytelling in the music video by laying down and playing dead. Meanwhile, heading into 2022, it was Lil Deuce's hood that would suffer a major loss. One that, according to some rumors, may have been avenged in record time just days later. On the 2nd of July 2022, at around 3:40 PM, 28-year-old LaShawn Dupre was sitting in a parked vehicle in the 600 block of East 47th Street, the so-called low-end neighborhood of Chicago, when another vehicle pulled up and someone inside opened fire, hitting him multiple times. He was taken to hospital in critical condition before finally losing the battle and passing away around a week later on the 11th. Dupre was better known in the streets as Fly Sean, an alleged longtime member of the 7 Deuce, originally repping the FBC side of the hood, while particularly being an early participant in the Chicago drill scene, dropping songs and music videos like the FBC Freestyle as early as 2013. Fly Sean was also connected to big names from the early drill scene, being seemingly close with none other than FBG Duck, while also saying on his social media that he had a friendship with the rapper Rich the Kid that went way back, and calling the rapper Money Man his big brother. Clearly, Fly Sean had been well connected, even way beyond Chicago, and his death was a major loss for 7 Deuce, made even worse by their ops' instant dissing on social media, while M-Block members like the rapper Bando KD would openly insinuate that they had been behind the hit. Another member called Spaz would make a post on his Instagram on the 9th of June when Fly Sean was still fighting for his life, with a caption saying F7200, man, they scared to do a hit, seemingly taunting 7 Deuce to get back for Sean. And 2 days later, on the 11th of July, the day that Fly Sean would finally succumb to his injuries, Spaz would be active on Instagram again, but this time posting himself on his stories, walking in the hood of another rival set around the 75th and Chapel on the east side, this being a Mickey Cobra hood, with Spaz saying how he was trying to catch a snake, a known symbol of the Mickey Cobras.
Catch a little Mick. Oh, not out. I thought I just had me a snake on a bite.
Sometime later, as Spaz, real name David Clay, had seemingly walked less than a mile north to the 2200 block of East 70th Street, where he was walking in an alley with another man named Charles Brown, someone began shooting at them, hitting Spaz in the chest and Brown in the arm and chest, with both of them later passing away in a hospital. Given where and how this murder happened, unsurprisingly, those on Reddit's Chiracology would consider this to have been the work of the Mickey Cobras, with fingers pointing particularly at the infamous Mickey Cobra sets like the 800 and OTV. However, in his music, Lil Deuce has often kept dissing Spaz, while even rapping in the August 2025 song Next Victim how they got get back for Fly Sean in a week, heavily insinuating that they were the ones who killed Spaz. And this wouldn't be the only murder in July 2022 that Lil Deuce has been connected to, because at the end of the month he would allegedly catch another one who many may have considered as yet another innocent victim of the one-legged assassin. On the evening of July the 31st, 2022,
we up to 13 hats, gang. This is getting outrageous.
51-year-old Brian Ballard was at Faceworld 069's hood in the 6900 block of South Talman Avenue when an unknown shooter would open fire, and as the police arrived soon after, they found Ballard with multiple gunshot wounds and pronounced him dead at the scene. On social media, people who knew him would react to the tragic news, shocked at why he had been targeted despite not being involved in the gang life. This became yet another unsolved case, but afterwards, Lil Deuce would make some interesting remarks that seemed to imply that he might have had something to do with Ballard's death. For example, during one Instagram live between Deuce and his ops from Faceworld, as they were going back and forth about which side was winning the war, Deuce would suddenly start rapping lyrics that seemed to strongly imply that he had killed Ballard, to which his ops would immediately respond by saying how they had killed people who actually mattered.
I'm back on that. Anything happened to Western, they know Big Spoon did.
Alright, look, Deuce, answer this for me. Who up?
No, don't say it.
Y'all are up.
Don't say it.
Y'all are us.
It's too many people watching.
Who up? Y'all are us.
Don't say that, man.
You can't answer that.
Oh, head B got his turned to a tree.
That's cool, fine and dandy. We got real caps though.
But the confirmation would seemingly come years later, after Lil Deuce's death, when a woman close to Ballard would expose Deuce for allegedly killing him and several other people, who according to her were all innocent and simply targeted because of where they were from. At the end of 2022, it was Kill Bill's time to experience another major personal loss. On the 6th of December, shortly after 3 p.m, his young protege, 15-year-old KJ, real name Kevin Davis Jr., was leaving his high school located in the Austin neighborhood on the west side of Chicago, when someone shot at him several times with fatal consequences.
But we begin with new information on a breaking story we've been watching. A 15-year-old shot and killed in the South Austin neighborhood, just steps away from Michelle Clark High School.
That's near Laramie and the Eisenhower. CBS 2's Jermont Terry live at the 15th District Police Station, which is blocks away from where that shooting happened, but police are expected to give an update any minute now. Jermont?
Well, Joe and Dana, police are speaking at the podium right now. They have confirmed that the 15-year-old shot did attend Michelle Clark Prep Academy. We're going to listen in as we have representatives from Chicago Police and CPS on scene now. Here's a list.
With our business partners, with our faith-based community, with our outreach, and we're going to make sure that this case is solved and that justice is brought to this family.
After KJ's death, Kill Bill would openly tell on social media that KJ had 3 bodies at the time of his death, while saying that he felt like he had failed him.
You know, it ain't never no killer without no killing on dope. Greg, my little brother Reddy was one of them doing dope. Folks was 15 on dope. He was 14 with nobody. By the time he was 15, he had like a trait on Lil Bill. Tomorrow, no count on dope, no rap count, no none of that. Folks Reddy was him.
Later on, as 16 Shotton would ask him if KJ had been his real-life little brother, Kill Bill would reply saying that blood wouldn't have made them any closer.
So I seen, I think it was a story or a live, I can't remember, but you had said something, you feel like you failed your brother. I want to ask you, like, was you talking about like a blood brother?
Blood wouldn't have made us no closer.
Bro.
But unfortunately for Kill Bill, his losses wouldn't end there, and already in January 2023, he would lose yet another close associate when alleged BTBG affiliate called Hemi, real name Marcus Hope, was killed near their hood in the 3300 block of West Franklin Street.
Breaking overnight, Chicago police are investigating a deadly shooting on the city's west side. Officers tell us they were called to the area near Franklin and Spalding for a report of a person shot. That's when they say they found a 35-year-old man who had been shot several times. The victim was taken to a hospital where he later died. It's still not known who fired the shots.
Hemi was part of the older crowd who repped the original WBMG, and he could even be seen in a 2017 hood vlog shot by the legendary Zach TV, where he was called the Chief Enforcer, showing that his murder would have likely been seen as another major victory for their ops.
My man, Chief Enforcer, Big Hemi.
They ain't never say I think rap's real. They live that, Joe. We don't do no fabrication. Everything real, Joe.
A few weeks after Hemi's death, Kill Bill would be arrested on a warrant, but the reason for the arrest would be unclear. KB himself would mention the arrest in passing when discussing with the Firehouse Studios why he hasn't dropped a song yet with Lil Zay Osama, saying how they had planned on making a song in 2023, but him getting booked had delayed their plans.
I see Lil Zay has been showing you a lot of love. What's your relationship with him?
That's like my brother type, that's big bro type. I ain't gonna lie, like, and it be real genuine though, cause it's gonna be like on no rap real, like it be deeper than rap. And like we really, he genuinely me show my love, like he'll be with the music like that.
But it don't even be about the music though. It's just like he'll beat up for on somebody like, you know, need talking, them that need anything, he'll beat up for real.
That's what's up. Y'all got any plans to y'all got any music together?
Nope. We was supposed to make a song like back in 2023 before I got booked. I got booked in like the beginning of February 8th, 2023, but...
It's also not clear when Kill Bill was released, but already the following month, in March, one of his oldest rivals, the Ghost Mob, would end up losing another member to a homicide, which the Reddit detectives have once again connected to Kill Bill and his set.
Man.
On the 29th of March at around 3:30 p.m, 20-year-old Corinne Smith, also known as a female Ghost Mob member called LC Money, was at a gas station in the Austin neighborhood when someone would suddenly appear from a silver sedan, opening fire, hitting her in the head and leg, causing critical injuries that would cause her to pass away in hospital. The news about her death was quickly noticed on Reddit, where people would also note how BTBG members had been dissing her only minutes after her death, many considering the murder to be their handiwork. Later on, as Kill Bill would become the Chiracology subreddit's favorite new shooter, someone would post a throwback recording of Kill Bill himself dissing LC Money, while noting how Ghost Mob had been dissing KJ heavily at the time of the murder, the implication being that LC Money's murder was indeed a get back, where Kill Bill himself might have even participated.
They done killed that. Oh, did I? Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Damn, that was the same people that was laughing at KJ, man. They was laughing at KJ. I'm gonna have a field day. Oh, what the man, turned out, man. My birthday tomorrow. We smoking that.
Meanwhile, at the end of 2023, Lil Deuce would allegedly catch yet another victim. On the 22nd of November at around 6:10 p.m, 27-year-old Malik Washington was in the 2500 block of West 63rd Street when somebody opened fire, striking him in the head and body, and he was later pronounced dead at the hospital. Washington was better known in the streets as Midget Mac, and in online rumors, Mac is often considered to be yet another victim of Lil Deuce, but apparently Mac wasn't really active in the streets like that and didn't really deserve to be killed, although he was allegedly associated with a largely extinct gang set known as Chop Block, who were a faction of the Black P Stones in the Washington Park neighborhood, a long way away from both Lil Deuce's DMG set and Kill Bill's BTBG set. It's not clear what reason Deuce would have had to kill Mac, or if he was simply at the wrong place at the wrong time, but the same woman close to Brian Ballard, who accused Deuce of killing him, would also claim that Deuce was behind the murder of Mac and several other innocent people who we covered earlier. At this point, we've already mentioned around 15 murders that could one way or another be connected to Kill Bill or Lil Deuce, but coming into 2024, they would allegedly get involved in their messiest and most high-profile beef so far, which would end up claiming the lives of several more people, including the life of Lil Deuce himself. In 2022, Lil Deuce's good friend and the rapper Lil Zay Osama would reportedly end up joining Lil Durk's OTF label. This move would also put Zay in the orbit of a completely new group of gang sets who Lil Durk was close with, like O-Block, Tay-Town aka TTE, and THF made up of two sets, THF 46 and THF 44, THF standing for Trigger Happy Family. Now unfortunately, it seems like not everyone within this new group respected Zay Osama, and as 2023 begun, things would soon start to go wrong. On January the 9th, Zay posted a reel on his Instagram previewing a new song titled Glah Glah Part 2, together with a caption that appeared to send a message, denying that someone had taken something from him before also mentioning how they weren't his friends. This rather vague message would get more context that same morning when Zay went on his Instagram story and told the full history, claiming in a lengthy message that someone had stolen watches from him straight out of his hotel room while he slept, and that when he confronted the suspects, they had lied and sworn on their dead friends that they didn't take anything from him. Zay would also end the post with a menacing warning, saying that nobody could stop his crew from putting the belt on them now, and also tagging the two people he accused of the theft, these both being members of the THF set known as Kino and La Fadada. Zay would also share private messages he'd exchanged with the THF members after the incident, showing them denying any involvement, instead pointing the finger at Zay's own circle, but Zay clearly wasn't buying it. Kino quickly fired back on his own Instagram story, calling Lil Zay dumb and brushing off the accusations. In another post, he added that if he had really taken the watches, he would already be on Instagram showing them off, but at the same time, he made it clear that if Zay wanted to do something about it, he was ready. This response sounding a little bit too defensive for somebody who was claiming to be innocent. La Fadada, the other accused man, took a much cooler approach, responding only with a subliminal post on his own page that read, "Believe nothing you hear and only some of what you see." Later during his 2025 interview with No Jumper, Zay would finally explain how the watch theft had unfolded, explaining how he had taken his watches off before going to sleep, believing that he was amongst friends, only to wake up to find out those same people had allegedly stolen the watches.
I took my watches off, both of them, and put them on the front room table. You feel me? I'll wake up the next morning, bro, like 7 in the morning, bro. Gone, you hear me? Now, I'm thinking back on last night, they came in the room and waked me up. Cause we was buying something from them too. You know what I'm saying? So bro, I get them the money for while I'm kinda like sleep, you know what I'm saying? I get them the money and I fall back to sleep. They merching on every dead homie in the book that they didn't take it, they didn't got it, they don't know what I'm talking about. I need to check my homies.
Now the situation was unusual, as Zay's 6300 set had no history of problems with THF. And interestingly, despite Lil Durk having a bond with THF that stretched back more than a decade, he also appeared to side with Zay in the beef, even making this public in Zay's Instagram post about the robbery, simply commenting, "Keep going." In August 2023, Lil Deuce would appear on the On a Couch TV's Hood vlog after having recently got out of jail, and he would make it clear that nobody was going to mess with Zay now that he was out, before claiming that when he had heard about what happened with the watches, he had immediately beaten up the THF rapper G-Baby, who was locked up in the same division as him behind bars.
So it was like some allegations going around, like with some watches coming up missing.
All right, listen, I'm gonna tell you this. Stole from my brother while he was asleep, where all the schoomers was locked up. Oh, listen, let me just talk. We all was just locked up. Pulled that little fool because they know them killers out. The same day they took my brother watches, I beat the out G-Baby on tape. He didn't even try to swing back. He in that screaming, yelling, Division 5 got ugly, had blood leaking from his teeth. Real facts on my cousin.
The following month in September, Lil Zay Osama would drop a new song titled That Time Again, where he would echo Lil Deuce's story, rapping how he told his affiliates in the county jail to catch and stomp out any THF members before making it clear that he was ready for the new beef. Meanwhile, THF would take the dissing to another level, with a THF member Twiller posting a story on his Instagram making fun of Zay and Lil Deuce's beloved dead friend Detro. And even the THF member and Lil Durk's close friend Beasu would troll Lil Deuce on Instagram during one of his lives, telling Deuce how he was out so early that he hadn't even brushed his teeth yet, an apparent reference to Deuce, who was famously missing a few of his front teeth. In October, Lil Deuce and Kill Bill released their most popular song to date, Footprints, where they boast about having footprints all across Chicago, a metaphor for all the violence that they claim to have carried out in every corner of the city and the dangerous reputation they built up in the streets. The suggestion that their drillings stretch all across the city was seemingly true, with them having victims allegedly in all corners of Chicago from the west side to the east. In his verse, Lil Deuce would once again bring up the beating that he'd given to THF G-Baby in jail, while Kill Bill would boast in his verse about having 8 bodies under his belt at the time. Coming into 2024, Lil Zay Osama was hit with serious legal trouble after being federally indicted in New York in January after an incident where he allegedly left a handgun equipped with a switch inside of an Uber. However, the following month, THF would be hit with even more devastating news. On February the 7th, 2024, THF member TP, aka Two Pistols, took his daughter to a restaurant on the west side of Chicago so she could interview the owner for a school project on black-owned businesses. TP was one of the most respected members of the THF set and a rapper known for dropping one of the most infamous diss songs in drill history, a track called Bus Stop, which made fun of the dead rapper Lil Mark from the 051 Young Money set, that crew being THF's oldest enemy, with Lil Mark being killed at a bus stop in 2014. But as TP, his daughter and his girlfriend, as well as another young relative exited the restaurant in the 5400 block of West Madison Street around 6:40 p.m, a nearby surveillance camera would capture his chilling last moments, as a white Nissan pulled up alongside them and 2 gunmen jumped out, opening fire on TP, hitting him repeatedly as his daughter stood just feet away. The attackers then rushed into the car and sped off, leaving TP collapsed in the street, his daughter's blood-stained school project lying beside him, and he would be pronounced dead in the hospital soon after. A little while after this, word of THF TP's murder spread through his inner circle, leading members of THF to flood social media with emotional tributes. But mixed in with the grief were calls for retaliation, like THF Beasu, who shared a photo of himself alongside TB, admitting that he knew he should be pushing peace, but the reality of the streets wouldn't let him. Meanwhile, the popular THF rapper Lil Law posted a photo of TP alongside a chilling message, vowing that many of their rivals would soon be joining him in the afterlife. On social media, the suspicions quickly fell on THF's main rivals, 051 Young Money, with the fastest YouTubers posting videos about TP being the latest casualty in this gang war less than 24 hours after he was dead. But Beasu would quickly go on Instagram Live to make it clear that it wasn't their main ops behind TP's murder.
That's not they work. Whatever goes on, goes on. We not playing no internet. We not doing no police. We not finna troll back and forth with the ops. Of course, if one of us pass, they're gonna be happy. Guess why they happy? That's why they so happy. Get y'all fan ass off my line. I'm posting them breaks. Y'all throw that. We don't want no smoke with nobody. We not into it with nobody. Stop blogging, stop making it seem like they did this, they did that, they ain't did, gang.
It seemed that the streets were talking, and people in the know had a clue who did this murder, and allegedly, THF's revenge would come in the following month. On March the 17th, 2024, a car traveling along the 6800 block of South State Street was targeted in a drive-by shooting by another vehicle, leaving 2 men fatally shot.
We do have breaking news to tell you about. Police are investigating a double homicide on the South Side. That's the scene this afternoon in the 6800 block of South State Street. It's near the Dan Ryan. Police say 2 unknown suspects fired at the victims from a car. The victim's car then crashed into a wall. 2 men, aged 30 and 22, died at the University of Chicago hospitals. Police say the shooters drove off in a silver vehicle and are not in custody.
One of the victims, 22-year-old Taiwan Washington, also known in the streets as BVC Man Man, was from the Bashville set, aka BVC 071, located in Greater Grand Crossing, the very neighborhood where the shooting occurred. As mentioned, this set was very closely affiliated with Lil Zay Osama's 6300 set, as well as Lil Deuce's DMG or 7 Deuce set. And when the news of Man Man's death broke, a chilling photo of him slumped lifeless in the driver's seat began circulating online. One person who posted it was THF rapper Lil Law, who vowed that many ops would be killed in retaliation for what happened to TP, with him reposting this image to his Instagram story along with a ruthless caption mocking him. In August, Lil Law would also release a new song titled McNugget, where he continued hinting that THF had been behind Man Man's murder, suggesting they'd already got revenge for TP and that his killers were dead, stopping just short of saying that he was responsible. On Reddit, some people would theorize that Man Man and the other man killed in the drive-by, 30-year-old Antonio Rogers, aka Stony Rich, had in fact been the actual shooters who had killed TP, meaning that their murders had possibly been a very targeted revenge. THF G-Baby would also join in on this beef in October 2024 when he released his new song Mama's Boy. On that song, he would mention a rapper getting robbed after trusting THF as friends, lyrics that were clearly directed at Lil Zay Osama. Bashville member BVC Von would also respond to the lyrics on Instagram, calling G-Baby out for what he claimed were lies and saying that nothing had been took and that in fact the watches were stolen, before adding that there's blood everywhere now. This sentence alone would sum up just how petty this story had gotten, with nothing more than a couple of stolen watches now escalating into a deadly war that had claimed several lives. And as a result, there was now a huge
Be like that sometimes.
conglomerate of several gangs going to war with THF. On one side was Lil Zay's 6300 set, Lil Deuce's DMG set aka 7 Deuce, Kill Bill's BTBG set, and Man Man's BVC 071 set, with all of those groups teaming up to go to war with THF. But while this new war was claiming new victims every month, the existing gang wars were also raging on too, and in August 2024, Kill Bill would allegedly catch yet another body, as 31-year-old Davidson Francis, also known as an alleged Ghost Mob member called Davo, was gunned down at a gas station in the Austin neighborhood on the west side. Footage of the killing later surfaced online, appearing to show Davo being ambushed by a group of gunmen who pulled up in a car just as he stepped outside and then opened fire at very close range, with one Redditor posting the video and claiming that Kill Bill was amongst the shooters, although officially this murder remains unsolved, and Kill Bill himself would later deny having anything to do with it, although he would nonchalantly add how he wished that he did.
End up passing away. That's cool. I ain't do nothing to him on blood grave. I wish it was me. I ain't trying to hit. It was that had passed away up at that Westman College. You know, they'd be on Reddit trying to say it's me and but I ain't do that.
Oh wow.
That passed away.
Right, yeah.
Crazy. By February 2025, Lil Zay Osama was finally released from federal prison, but even after spending over a year behind bars, he wasn't ready to forget about the stolen watches, and in June 2025, he would release a song titled Ones I Love, where he would make his feelings very clear, rapping outright how Man Man had gotten a get back for the stolen watches, essentially making it crystal clear that Man Man had been acting on Lil Zay Osama's orders and had indeed been one of the shooters involved in killing THF-TP as revenge. In the music video, these lyrics were accompanied by a phone screen that had Man Man's memorial card along with a caption saying, "I love you brah, you know what it is." And just in case the message wasn't clear enough, Lil Zay's brother Big Folks would even reinforce the truth of it by quoting the line about Man Man in an Instagram story, adding 2 words at the end, FTP. Kill Bill would also drop a new song and music video in June, together with the DMG rapper Scoom, titled Head Taps. In the track, Kill Bill appeared to take subtle shots at THF, rapping that when his side takes watches, they snatch them directly off people's wrists, rather than stealing them while people were sleeping, like THF did to Zay. He would also seemingly update his body count to 9 at this point, possibly referencing the murder of Davo that he had allegedly committed together with his BTBG partners about a year before. A couple months after this, in August, Lil Zay Osama pulled up to No Jumper for an interview where he would address a number of hot topics. At one point, Remo, Adam22's co-interviewer, would bring up what happened to THF-TP, prompting an immediate reaction from Zay, who clearly understood the question wasn't being asked by accident. Despite the topic being slightly incriminating, Zay chose to address it, first admitting that what happened to TP was wrong, but then offering a chilling explanation about how in today's street dynamics, if someone can't reach you, then they'll target those around you. This was a comment that many people thought was possibly an indirect admission that TP's killing was indeed retaliation for the other THF members taking the watch.
Yeah, homies, don't be saying block the GDs, the BDs over there, whatever. Even if you from this block, be low key, be out the way, do girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't broadcast that you with it, because guess what? If a motherfucker smoke you, we know they gonna hurt too. So guess what? We don't give a we smoking your. You get what I'm saying?
It was like a viral video of THFTP. He was walking with his kids, and that, you know what I'm saying?
Yo, funny as hell, bro. You fried, bro. Leave there, yo. Crazy as hell. Listen, that whole situation, wrong, bro. You feel what I'm saying? I pray for his daughter, you feel me? I pray for her mama, I pray for their whole family. You get what I'm saying?
But like, ain't giving like, cause back in the day, it used to be a situation, if you see the kids.
And that's how I used to be back in the day when it was structured, you know what I'm saying? And guidance for real. You just and that ain't got no structure, no guidance, bro. You feel what I'm saying? I had to do anything when you with whoever. Then they kill your kid, folks. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be mindful of that when you out here doing, because ain't no sympathy, ain't no span, nothing, ain't no none of that. So you know, I was just saying, do something and then don't do something to him, knowing he know where you stay, knowing he know your mama, your OG, your sister, your cousin, your brother, and you will do something to him because you expect him to be like, oh, he ain't gonna do shit to my, oh, I ain't gonna do family, I'm trying to catch him. We gonna do anything that hurts you.
A day after this interview aired, THF member Rome took to Instagram to taunt Lil Zay, showing off the very watches that had been stolen from him while claiming that they were still in Chicago and daring Lil Zay to come back from California if he wanted them back. This was followed by THF Kino, one of the alleged watch thieves, who after years of denying any involvement, posted a video of the watches, appearing to confirm that he had indeed taken them from Zay. Zay would respond with a whole array of expensive watches together with laughing emojis, while also firing back at THF members who seemed to accuse him of saying too much in the interview, pointing out that they do the same things themselves, before ending with another chilling warning, reminding them that their friend had died and telling them to stop talking and get in the field.
Hey, you niggas get on the internet every day and talk about how y'all killed the nigga, y'all killed the man, who y'all killed. Y'all talk about bodies every day, gang. Who spanking, who the savages. From interviews to live, to text messages, to phone calls. As soon as I get on the interview, you feel me, and say some shit. He a snitch, he talking too much, he this, he that. You bitch, fuck my homies died, nigga, in the field. I don't even supposed to be talking like this on here, but I'm just telling y'all, gang. Stop DMing me, stop texting me, stop sending me shit. I don't give a f*** I said in that interview. I ain't never snitched, I ain't never told on them. But all your friends is rats, though. All your friends is rats, though.
Then, to cap off what seemed like a wave of self-incrimination, Lil Zay then went live poolside, speaking openly again and chillingly stating that 2 of his watches had been stolen, and in response, 5 people had died, with 5 more still to come.
2 watches got stolen, about 5 lives got took. Now run and tell that.
Alright, hold on, chat. This is a good place to stop.
We trying to go for 10.
Sadly, Zay was right, and people would keep dying, but he probably wasn't expecting just how close the next murder would be to his own circle. During the summer of 2025, Kill Bill's reputation as a shooter was beginning to go viral on platforms like Reddit, where someone would post in August how they were surprised that nobody was talking about him, while adding that he apparently had 9 bodies under his belt and more murders on camera than any other shooter in Chicago. One person responded by claiming that Kill Bill had in fact been one of the shooters in the THF TP hit alongside BVC Man Man. This would suggest that he may have also been referencing that incident when updating his body count to 9 in the song Head Taps. But unfortunately for Kill Bill, just like TP had allegedly been collateral damage for something that other THF members had done, someone very close to Kill Bill was also about to go out the very same way. The following month, on the 12th of September 2025, Lil Deuce was outside on the 800 block of East 91st Street in the Chatham neighborhood when a car pulled up beside him and shots rang out from inside, striking Deuce multiple times, and he would later be pronounced dead at the hospital. But what made Lil Deuce's death especially tragic was that he had just appeared to distance himself from the streets, almost as if he knew that the work that he'd put in was too much heat on him and his time was running out. To make it clear just how much damage Lil Deuce had allegedly done in the streets, Kill Bill would come out on social media after his death, not only to pay tribute to his close friend, but also making the now infamous post revealing that him and Lil Deuce had a combined body count of 20 plus, calling Deuce his splash brother. Lil Zay Osama would also take to Instagram to pay tribute to Deuce, while also including a spooky message claiming that he knew exactly what Deuce would have wanted him to do and that there was nothing left to discuss. Meanwhile, Lil Deuce's death also showed just how many enemies he had made in the streets, as members from numerous gangs all over the city would diss him relentlessly following his passing. However, THF was unsurprisingly going the hardest at dissing Lil Deuce, with rapper G-Baby, who had allegedly been beaten up by Deuce and his friends in the county jail, releasing a song and music video dissing him later that month titled Scoom. The video begins with G-Baby pushing a cart loaded with big bags of dope that are labelled as Scoomies before he begins the chorus of the song, where he simply raps over and over again how he's got Scoom. Now, these lyrics have a dark double meaning, because they're lifted directly from Lil Deuce and Kill Bill's most popular song, Footprints, where Lil Deuce actually opens the song with those same lyrics. However, in G-Baby's version, Scoom also refers to Lil Deuce himself, who was also known in the streets as Scoom or Big Scoom, which was actually his Instagram handle. So G-Baby is basically implying that he's got and he's selling weed that's named after Lil Deuce, basically saying that he's smoking on him. And he would also diss Scoom in even more detail elsewhere in the song, at one point ending the chorus with a warning that someone could end up on the news just like their friend. This was a message that appeared to be aimed squarely at Lil Zay Osama, with this lyric implying that THF indeed might have had something to do with Lil Deuce's murder. In the comments on the music video, one viewer claimed that the get back for Deuce, or Lil Scoop as they called him, would be brutal, prompting G-Baby himself to respond by mocking the claim and telling them to let him know when it happens. This being seemingly yet another indirect hint from G-Baby that THF was behind the murder of Scoom. The other popular THF rapper Lil Law would also continue the dissing in his music, like rapping in the October 2025 song Swing how they got back when they lost a member, possibly referring to Deuce being a get back for THF-TP, before addressing explicitly Zay's claim that 5 people had died about the stolen watches, calling it cap. In his January 2026 track Cable Guy, Lil Law would continue taking shots at Lil Deuce, referring to him as the limpin' one and suggesting that he had first-hand knowledge of THF's firepower, before also shouting out THF-TP and his reputation for shooting at rivals. But while it looked like THF were definitely claiming Lil Deuce as their body, behind the scenes there had recently been some internal friction between Lil Deuce and his former friends from the Bashville, aka BVC 071 set, and only about a month before Lil Deuce's death, he had come out publicly dissing their biggest rapper and his former friend, BVC Man. This was a sudden change in alliances, because only a few months ago in May, everything had seemed to still be fine, at least between Lil Sam and Lil Zay Osama, as Lil Sam would tell YouTuber 16 shot him during his interview.
Y'all know, man, no difference between this. Man, we all gang from the same man. If y'all don't see us in the videos, you don't see me with Zay. We still thugging, we all the same gang. We got a lot of coming, man.
However, on the day of Lil Deuce's murder, Corporate Cartel would release his interview with Lil Deuce, where Deuce would deny ever having been friends with Man and calling BVC snakes.
Okay, it was like you was cool with a guy from Bashville named Man or something, but I guess like a month ago you was on live and you was like saying F him, and I guess he did. So it's like, what's up with y'all? You just don't F with him no more?
Man, nah, man, I never was cool with him, man. I never say I was cool with. Then when he died, we still cool. Then I get into his homie so much that they ain't never been me here. Nah, that was my homie. They just
if you don't see us with him,
you know that they just a snake. Cut out ties, man. We ain't on none of that.
Now what all could they do? You niggas was causing havoc.
We can't
doing bro.
Now, following Lil Deuce's death, Lil Sam would also begin to diss him too, posting on Instagram how there was a new pack in the air, implying that he too was smoking on Lil Deuce. Meanwhile, several other BVC members would also post pictures of their dead friend, BVC Vante, following Deuce's passing, apparent confirmation that they now also considered Lil Deuce to have been his killer. Lil Zay's brother Big Folks from 6300 would also appear to confirm that Zay and his camp
look just like that nigga. What the fuck? What the fuck?
were no longer on good terms with the BVC set either, posting a picture of Vante together with a caption saying how hanging out with a little mouse had gotten him killed, before paying tribute to Lil Deuce and saying how they've been up on BVC and that they're a bunch of goofies. During an Instagram live, he would have even harsher words to say, warning everybody that BVC were his new ops now, and that if he would even see anyone with them, they would also become his enemies.
I'm telling y'all, bro, I want the whole world to know it's on with them. BDA and BVC is on with them. Them is my ops, big folks ops personally. You get caught with them, liking a picture, taking a picture, comment on something, I'm on your too. So when I see you, don't be looking surprised while I snatched off on your I snatch your wig off, popped you in your face, took your J, whatever. That's why.
Some months later, Kill Bill would also chime in during his interview with Corporate Cartel, explaining that the real reason that Lil Deuce and BVC had fallen out was because BVC had stolen Lil Deuce's chain when he was locked up.
His ass
You know, Lil Deuce ended up, you know, getting a chain. You know, the same way I got my chain type, you know? Bam, so he ended up like, you know how I'm be with the jury and like, you know, phone them go wear it. Like, say, like, I ain't gonna cap, I used to, it'd have been time I used to leave my chain, my watch and shit with. Phone them from the Deuce and shit, this watch and shit, and his chain and shit. I used to leave with Lord them from the Deuce, Lord them Sue, and, you know, bring your back and shit like that. Folks would end up going to jail, they had his chain and shit. They sold his chain on some weird shit. And then they was trying to, when he got out of shit, they ended up, like, you know, like, long story short, why you selling chain and shit, you know what I'm saying? And bap them around and shit, bap them down and shit. But, you know, so when he got out, he was feeling how he felt. I don't know why.
Lil Sam, on the other hand, addressed the allegations in his interview, making clear that it was straight FDMG, while his friend would also mock Lil Zay for mentioning their fallen member Man Man in a song, claiming that Man Man didn't even know Zay and that he definitely hadn't done any getbacks over Zay's stolen watches.
So y'all fell out with him, I guess, about whatever, you know what I'm saying?
BMG. I ain't gonna lie.
Can you speak about Shorty? Like, who was that to you? That was your family or just your like, homie?
Who, Mainstream?
Yeah, Mainstream.
Brother.
That's our baby brother. That's our baby brother, like, baby brother.
Everybody be capped, for I ain't gonna lie.
He from right here.
I ain't gonna lie. Phone them, my little shorty didn't even know them. So you put them in the song, he don't even know you. Somebody got back for some watches, dude. Get your
like, little bro from right here. Right, for real, every day.
Watches,
you see who he lost his life at right here. Monte, right here for real.
Things between all these gangs were getting very confusing and conflicted, and beef that had apparently started over something as minor as stealing watches was now rapidly spiraling out of control, with killings happening almost monthly and even former friends breaking apart and turning into new enemies, with some online detectives now thinking that BVC could have even been behind Lil Deuce's murder. But unfortunately, there would be no end in sight for the killing, as already the following month there would be yet another murder taking place, this one being the most shocking of them all. During Lil Zay Osama's self-snitching marathon in the summer of 2025, he had also attacked the one THF member that was so close to Lil Durk, you would have had to assume he was off limits. This being THF's most respected member Beasu, who had been close with Durk for well over a decade, with Zay giving Beasu a backhanded compliment during his conversation with DJ Academics in August 2025, first calling Beasu a good dude before calling him broke, as many people associated with Durk's OTF crew had seemingly ran into some financial difficulties after Durk was arrested by the feds in October 2024.
Damn. But Zoo a good though, for real. Zoo a good. But he back in the trenches up wearing white beaters all day. Yeah, I mean, that's just what it is. He ain't do the right thing with the little money he was getting, man.
The following month, as Beasu was celebrating his 35th birthday, he would strike back by flexing stacks of money while still wearing his white tank top that Zay had made fun of, and seemingly responding to him in a caption by sarcastically saying how he was still broke and in the trenches before ending the caption with 6300K, aka 6300 killer. Zay, on the other hand, could be seen at a DJ Vlad interview clip that was posted the very next day after Beasu's post, with Zay making it clear that he was never signed to Durk's OTF label, with Zay possibly implying that while he was still cool with Durk, he wanted nothing to do with people around him like Beasu.
Well, everyone thought that you were signed to OTF.
No.
But you were never signed.
Nah, I never signed to OTF.
But you and Durk were close?
Yeah.
Okay, because
we did a song, he gave me the chain. You know how artists be, they get chains and shit.
They think you're signed to OTF.
Yeah, so everybody thought I was signed to OTF, but I ain't never signed to OTF.
About a month later, on the 25th of October 2025, Beasu, real name Devonshea Collier, was out shopping in his hometown in the Little Village neighborhood, also known as the Mexico of the Midwest due to its large Hispanic population. Now, THF has no known enemies in this neighborhood, which is why Beasu likely felt safe moving out in the open, because as he himself had said in his No Jumper interview a few years back, he knew how to move in Chicago and could never be caught lacking.
If they catch me and do what they do, which it ain't gonna happen, I'm too advanced for these sit and watch how these lose their life. There ain't nothing to be bragging on, but these flunkies to me, gang, like they ain't built for this. Like, I don't get caught lacking, man. Happen anybody, blood. Blink of an eye, you turn your head one second, man, the wrong move, you don't see them, it can happen, gang. Don't surround yourself in certain environments. You ain't got to worry about that. I'm too much worried about one of my own snaking me out before I let a goofy get up on me, gang. That's just how I look at life. You feel me? Like, ain't no getting, ain't no thing farther than me, man. I realize I do this,
bro, you feel me?
Unfortunately though, once again, the harsh reality is that no one in the streets is really untouchable, and despite believing that he moved the right way at all times, Beasu too would end up getting touched. After finishing up shopping at a car parts store, Beasu and his entourage were heading back to their vehicle when security cameras captured a car pulling into the far end of the parking lot before two armed men jumped out and begun running towards the group, who appeared to be completely unaware of the danger that was quickly approaching them. They didn't have any time to react until the gunmen were literally right next to them and opening fire, clearly targeting Beasu specifically, who was struck multiple times, with one of the shooters even staying in place for an extended period to make sure that he had finished the job. The shooters would rush back to their car and flee the scene, while Beasu was transported to the hospital in critical condition, and sadly he would later succumb to his injuries, while his two companions who had also been hit would fortunately end up surviving. Soon after, as the killing of one of the biggest names in Chicago drill began to spread across social media, people on places like Reddit would begin theorizing which rival gang set had been behind this brazen broad daylight slaying, with most people, perhaps somewhat surprisingly, thinking that BVC was the top suspect. BVC certainly had a clear motive to retaliate against THF, who had allegedly killed their friend BVC Man, but the real reason for people's suspicions were rumors that quickly began spreading across social media after Beasu's murder, pointing to none other than Kuglo Lil Sam as one of the shooters, after a picture surfaced showing him wearing what appeared to be the exact same grey Nike Tech tracksuit that one of the gunmen was wearing in the surveillance footage. Online detectives would also post an Instagram live that Sam had done right after Beasu's murder, where viewers can be seen commenting how people on Reddit are saying that he killed Zoo, while Sam is happily flexing a bunch of cash, yelling, "Where he at?" Lil Sam would even seemingly play into the rumors by posting a picture of him and his friend both rocking that grey Nike Tech, and later during his interview with Corporate Cartel, one of Lil Sam's friends could also be seen wearing the same outfit, prompting Corporate Cartel to ask him if they were just trolling, with Sam pointing out how common it is to wear a Nike Tech fit in Chicago. So he essentially denied having anything to do with Beasu's murder.
Hey, you trolling with the Nike Tech, you know how they put, I told you how they put the Nike Tech on you. They put that on him, you know what I'm saying? He gonna come on, how you go with this trolling? Oh, you off the chain.
We don't know nothing about that.
Nah, I'm just saying cause I think that's what y'all got going on.
No. We ain't doing that. We just, them our Nike Techs we wear, like black.
Yeah, everybody got that. Everybody got that. That's what they were saying on the internet.
Why would you want to put on a red Nike Tech, or you gonna put on a baby blue, or you gonna see a black one or a gray one? You feel me? You gonna see the whole rack in that.
But the final piece of evidence that suggested Lil Sam wasn't the killer, after all, would come from a live that he allegedly did shortly after Beasu's murder, which appeared to show that he wasn't even in Chicago at the time. THFG Baby would also come out to claim publicly that Lil Sam had not been behind Beasu's death.
I'm telling y'all on my brother. I don't do no, listen. First of all, that what y'all doing is police. On gutter, he ain't do nothing. He didn't do nothing to my brother. Nothing. On my grandma. Nothing. I'm saying this. G-Baby saying this. On gutter. On both of my brothers, that man. Nothing. Nothing at all, y'all. So stop that. Stop that. Clear that up.
There were also many people who considered the alliance of DMG, BTBG, and 6300 to have been behind the murder, as they also had a strong motive to avenge the murder of Lil Deuce, which THF were also claiming, and unsurprisingly the suspicions would land particularly on none other than Kill Bill himself, who according to one Redditor recently updated his body count once again. This referring to a track titled Devil Music 2 that he dropped about a week after Beasu's death, where he would rap how he has 11 bodies if he catches one more. Kill Bill would also fuel the rumors when he was asked about Beasu by Corporate Cartel shortly after the murder, and at first he appeared to respond sincerely, saying that he hadn't trolled Beasu after his death, and he had even spoken to him on the phone before, suggesting that things weren't that bad between them, before adding a rest in peace. However, this was immediately followed by him looking over at his friends with what could only be described as a sinister grin, which alone convinced many people on the internet that he was indeed one of the shooters.
I just seen that rest in peace to the brother Beasu. I didn't know that brother, you know what I mean? But it's just, you know, I don't want to see nobody die, you get what I'm saying? So like at the end of the day, but it's like, that was horrible, but everybody had they, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Say like, on one, like, I wasn't trolling. Say we had words, but it wasn't no bad words. We was just on the phone and it was me, him. We was on group FaceTime. I was in the car with Deuce. And we was on the phone with Zay, I think Lil Law and Zook, but like, we wasn't even, like, you know what I'm saying? We wasn't arguing like that. You know, it don't be, you know, rest in peace.
Yeah. For sure. So what I was gonna say though, you just spoke on Deucey, like Lil Deuce. I just call him Deucey.
Following Beasu's murder, the rumors surrounding Kill Bill's possible involvement begun to boost his profile across social media and on platforms like Reddit, where he'd already been gaining a lot of attention since popping out with Lil Deuce. But now, people were really starting to take notice of his claims of having double-digit bodies, with some labeling him as the new Lil Jeff, Chiracology's latest favorite crash out.
How has this YN not been locked up yet? Meet the 2025 version of Bloodhound Lil Jeff, aka Chicago's newest crash dummy Kill Bill. This YN didn't get that name for no reason. He really belting out here. According to Reddit nerds, Buddy is up 10 hats, and they not exaggerating. You know he's legit because he even unlocked the all-black mythical Micro Draco. Just look at this picture. Bro knows where he's going, and he doesn't care at all. He was caught drilling on camera multiple times and even self-snitches from time to time on his IG. Y'all think Kill Bill is the new Q50?
And it's around this time when I too would begin to pay close attention to Kill Bill. I covered him in several of my second channel videos, which even prompted Kill Bill to respond to me on his Instagram, telling me he was going to smack the Sonic rings out of me for lying about him.
Hey, Chop Lil Ross, bro. I'll follow you back, but you gotta stop be on this land. You be all on YouTube with just be land. Cause smack the out you, then I'll be wrong. I'll be wrong, right? Smack the dog, you then I'll be wrong, right?
I'm not gonna lie, that got me a little bit shook. Kill Bill, I'm speaking to you personally. If you slap at me, you would be wrong, man. Because I'm a dork, all right? I'm not in the streets. I'm not catching no hats. Okay, ignore these hats. These aren't the same kind of hats that you be having. These are a different kind of hat. All right. Look, I am scared. Okay, I am scared. All right. I wasn't trying to lie on you. I thought these posts that were going around. All right, and I'm working overtime keeping these hats on my head. They've not fallen once, by the way. This is difficult. I thought these posts were gospel. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, I was thinking these posts. Yeah. I wasn't trying to lie on your name. It was no disrespect to Kill Bill. You know, maybe we got to set the record straight. I was going to say maybe let's sit down and do an interview, but I don't know if I've got the confidence to be in the same room as you, Kill Bill, because they're talking. I'm not trying to be 21 or 13 or what. 13's an unlucky hat number. If I'm going to be one of those hats, at least make me 14, bro. You're going to have to catch another hat before you sit down. But Kill Bill was by no means the only person from the BTBG, 6300 and DMG alliance who was drawing attention to themselves in the aftermath of Beasu's murder, as many of them would openly celebrate the killing across social media. This also included Lil Zay Osama himself, who would interestingly post a picture of Lil Deuce, the implication being that Beasu's murder was a get-back, as well as posting himself dancing while doing the shooting motion, together with a caption that said, "When you catch your favorite op," and a bunch of laughing emojis. But that wasn't all, because already the very next day after the shooting that claimed Beasu's life, Lil Zay would release another song and music video titled simply 6K. The song had likely been recorded way before Beasu's murder, with Zay even talking about his friend Lil Deuce like he was still alive, but clearly the timing of the release was no coincidence, and the title of the song was a clever diss towards not just THF-46, which had been Beasu's specific set, but also towards another set known as 600, who Zay had a long beef with due to one of their members allegedly killing two of his cousins. However, in the song, Zay delivered some especially harsh lyrics aimed at THF, like taking direct shots at one of the alleged watch thieves, THF Kino, also known by his Instagram handle Omerta, with Zay rapping that if he caught Kino on THF's block, he would hurt him, while also questioning how he could even call himself Omerta when he hadn't even killed anyone. Zay would also seemingly suggest how THF had thought that the situation was going to get squashed, only for Zay and his crew to instead be out shooting them, before adding that the only sets in the low end where THF-46 is based that he doesn't have issues with are the OBN and Welch World, making it clear that everyone else, including THF, is fair game. Zay would then close out the song with a reference to THF TP, mentioning how he was killed in front of his kids and saying that he felt bad for him, before adding that his friends had told him to stop talking so recklessly on the track, but he kept on going anyway. This appeared to be another indirect admission that TP's death had something to do with what the other THF members have done. And Zay wasn't done. The following month, he would drop another diss track aimed at THF, this time simply titled OTF, with Zay making it clear from the jump that he was still cool with Lil Durk, even though he found himself at war with a set that had long ties to some of Durk's closest friends. He would also once again bring up the stolen watches, before adding that Zay and his shooters pull up whenever they get an ops location, something that could be interpreted as a veiled reference to Beasu, who was clearly killed by people who had got hold of his location. He would also claim that THF still hadn't tried to slide on him, despite allegedly having had his location as well. Zay would then close out the track by also taking shots at the THF rapper Lil Law, aka F the Law, calling his music trash and accusing him of lying about bodies. He would then follow that up with a tribute to Lil Deuce, saying there was no excuse not to slide, and pointing out how Deuce had chased his victims on foot despite having only one working leg, and then he would end the song by making it clear that they weren't playing, asking THF if they really wanted to mess with them, and even dropping a highly incriminating line about one of his shooters having just shot someone on the east side. Clearly, whether BTBG, DMG, or 6300 have been behind the murder, their members like Kill Bill and Lil Osama were at least using these rumors as a way to build up their music careers. But there were still also other possible suspects, the more likely ones being the THF's older ops, including their oldest rival, 051 Young Money, and another low-end alliance known as the 757, who had both been some of the loudest to diss Beasu on social media following his murder, which is of course understandable given how long these sets have been dissing and killing each other for. But what makes these theories perhaps the most believable in the end is that following Beasu's murder, both 757 and 051 would then lose members and their affiliates in close succession, starting with a 26-year-old woman named Ariana Bosby, who was a baby mother of an infamous 757 rapper called BA. On the 27th of October, 2 days after the shooting of Beasu, and the very same day that he would reportedly pass away, Bosby, who was also known as a rapper called G.R.E., would be gunned down in the 7600 block of South Vincennes Avenue in the Greater Grand Crossing neighborhood. Following her death, rumors would spread that she had backdoored Beasu, and that was the reason she had been killed, but these rumors would apparently turn out to be false, with the same rumors also falsely claiming that her child had been in the car with her when she was shot. However, following her death, THF member Dre Money would post an ominous tweet reading 20 for 1, the WAP way, essentially implying that 20 people would be killed in revenge for Beasu and that they had just caught their first. The message itself echoed Beasu's own words from an infamous Instagram live with one of THF's biggest ops, 051 Melly, where he said that he didn't want anyone crying at his funeral and he just wanted them to go crazy in the streets and kill 20 people in revenge instead.
What you say, my boy? I said, tell him so don't be sad for you, right? You lived your life. You did what you did. You gotta accept it. I don't want no crying for me, bro. Don't cry at my funeral. So, my ain't your dreads red, something. Don't cry. I don't cry. I get wild. I need 20 for 1, you hear me?
And the killing would continue a few months later, on the 28th of December, when 32-year-old DeAndre Golden, better known as 051 Wu, the brother of the most notorious shooter from 051, Melly, would be found shot in the 12200 block of Western Avenue in the city of Blue Island in the far south side of the Chicago metro area. Just a few days later, the THF rapper G-Baby would release another song and music video titled 20 for 1, the implication once again being that another person had been killed as get back for Beasu, the score now being 2 out of 20. And again, only a week later, the killing would continue, when on the 10th of January, 35-year-old Randy Curtis, better known as Rilla, one of the alleged founders of the 051 Young Money set, was killed in the 1600 block of East 85th Place in the Avalon Park neighborhood. As his death was reported by popular Chicago street blogger Squid Ape, the comments would then fill up with numerous THF members trolling and seemingly claiming responsibility for the murder, even repeating their promise to kill 20 people for 1. One of them even joking how he had still been smoking the last dead op, aka 051 Wu. But in the end, despite all of these possible suspects, the murder of Beasu still remains unsolved to this day, although according to the YouTuber Trench's News, the case has already been picked up by the feds.
I just want to tell you though, Zoo case has been picked up by the feds, man. Zoo was being investigated by the feds. We all know that. He was just in the paperwork. But his case is being picked up by the feds. The car was found abandoned. They saying by O'Hare Airport. The car was found abandoned by O'Hare Airport. Now, that's crazy.
Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but given Beasu's very close ties to guys like Lil Durk, who has literally been indicted by the feds currently on murder for hire charges, I really wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. But when it comes to Kill Bill, on the other hand, it seems that the hype that he was starting to get following Beasu's murder has died down considerably. Something that I unfortunately think might have less to do with his rapping skills or his charisma, and more to do with the fact that unlike some of his peers, despite his crazy reputation in the streets, so far, he's been unwilling to completely embrace that reputation in his music and in his social media antics. Now, that might sound like a stretch when we're talking about someone who's openly claimed that he and his friend have killed 20 people, but on the other hand, as Kill Bill himself would point out in another post, he could say that he has 317 bodies, but that alone doesn't make it true. Bloodhound Lil Jeff was also a rapper that started making some noise on platforms like Reddit with his wild claims about having double-digit bodies, and Jeff was allegedly taking the self-snitching to a whole other level with his music and on social media, rapping openly about everything he'd done in the streets. But in the end, what made his popularity absolutely explode was when he was actually caught doing what he rapped about on camera. The only problem with that, of course, being that Lil Jeff died on camera doing exactly what he said he did in his songs, chasing ops into their home, and while his music went super viral, he's no longer here to enjoy any of that. Meanwhile, Lil Jeff's right-hand man Q50 did a pretty good job of picking up where Jeff left off and building a lot of momentum in the drill music game off the back of rumors of having 8 bodies. But all of that arguably came at a cost, which involved a whole lot of alleged self-incrimination, dissing, and most crucially, a lot of close calls and attempts on his life. Fortunately, there are are other ways of getting success, and even in Chicago there's a lot of popular rappers coming out of the city now that rap about typical drill topics or the streets, but have never really been spoken of as being killers or even serial killers like Jeff or King Von. A lot of people are actually able to make it simply based on their music being good. Whether or not the rumors about having 10 bodies are true, I do really hope that Kill Bill can pick up his music career, find some success as an artist, and get out of the city of Chicago before it's too late. But sadly, I recently have been getting the impression that a lot of the attention and motion around Chicago drill music and drill music in general has kind of been dying down. I think ever since Lil Durk got locked up on murder for hire charges, the persona of being a rapping killer who really does the crimes that he raps about on the mic hasn't really been working out for people too much in the last few years. The era of people like King Von running around with 7 bodies and no consequences is kind of over at this point. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope you've enjoyed all of my gangster rap content. Thank you so much for watching this one, but for now, I'm out. Thank you.
Man. Hey, them dudes is crazy. And Kill Bill's still alive. He out here working. Still. This shit insane. 20 bodies? Anyway, let me know how y'all feel about this video down in the comment section. If you made it to the end, put Arizona in the comment section. It's your boy Shanor, I'm gone.